What's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to the post-fight show with Stormybman for this Saturday, February 27th, 2021. We are here to discuss this evening's events. Chat, let me know if you could hear me, please. Put a 1 in the chat if you could hear me. I'm having some audio difficulties over here. Please put a 1 in the chat if you could hear me. Okay, you guys can hear me. That's good. I can't hear. I couldn't hear the music, you know, and I didn't know if my audio was on or not. So I'm sitting over here playing around, but I've been here for like 3 minutes trying to figure that out. So as long as you can hear me, we're good to go, and we're gonna get on down to business, man. I know that people out here waiting and want to talk. So thank you for everybody that's putting in the ones in the chat. I appreciate everybody that's out there, man. People like to hear what we have to say, Reggie. So with no further ado, let's get down to it, man. You just finished calling the Canelo fight with Yildirim, and I'm glad I kind of went for my setup a little earlier, because I was actually doing that as we were going into the third round, and it looked like the whole win came out of the cells, you know. So why don't you go ahead and continue on with what you were stating as you were wrapping up your show, because I heard some of the comments that you guys were doing. I was listening with my phone earpiece what you guys were talking about. But go ahead and express your sentiments about what we just saw in the evening's featured match.
Man, this was the most disgusting ish I've ever seen. I'm mad as hell right now, based on what I seen. And this is the reason, like we were talking about yesterday with the Triller thing, and many people wondering if they are here to stay in boxing. They need to be in boxing and remain in it, and get rid of scumbags like Canelo, scumbags like Avni, scumbags like, what was the coach name? Joel Diaz. Get these scumbags the heck far away from this dang sport before they ruin it. And this is the reason why we get old fighters who can come back and continue on with their career, because Mike Tyson them even know that what fans are watching is bullcrap and that they do not want to see this type of stuff. The same thing, Thriller and them knowing that fans do not want to see this type of crap. And even like it was coming out early where a chump like Ryan Garcia can sit there and talk about, well, I don't like Devin Haney's style. His style isn't exciting enough. He isn't stopping guys, and he does this and that. Who the heck wants to hear that? You're not a champion. You're telling that you don't want to fight a champion? Who the heck are these fools? And then to watch Canelo and go into this fight, being that Yildirim sitting in there taking these punches from this dude, gets dropped with the 1-2, gets back up, and he's still coming forward to fight at Canelo. And then to sit in that corner of a third round, to have his coach sit there yelling in this old dramatic fashion. I thought something was suspect with Joe Diaz expressing himself that way, yelling like that. Give instructions. Stop talking about stopping the dang fight. Your fighter's been down one time. Give the instructions. And all of a sudden, your first thing is to go into stopping the fight. I said, man, something ain't right about this, man. And then even before they can go into the round, all of a sudden the fighter don't want to fight no more, or whatever the heck happened. That crap is what turns people away from the sport. We watched the fight earlier with the heavyweights. The dude gets dropped 3 times in each of the rounds and found a way to will himself forward. What the heck is going on? And this is a big moment for a clown like Yildirim to show something of himself. Then you watching all this goofy concert stuff before a dang round begin. They could have did this at the beginning while we waited for a fight to put on that old crappy concert. And then to see this crap, like, come on, this dude ought to be strong enough to go in here and fight Canelo. And now all of a sudden, all these dudes ain't giving no effort in these fights. Like, something is not right. Something ain't cool with what's going on. Like, this was total crap. You don't give people 3 rounds of that junk. Like, come on, man. That was BS. And it wasn't even like when he got hit with a punch. I mean, if you was hurt that bad, you should have took a longer time to get to your dang feet. And you shouldn't even gave any fight back, because he was covering up where the ref looked like he was going to break it until the guy throws a nice hook out there to back Canelo up. Then he begins to jab. He tries to step in forward. What was the purpose of Joe talking like that? Give your fighter some damn instructions. That was crap, man.
Yes, it was. I agree, man. And we got my brother Curtis Anderson, aka Kurt Sugar, here in the building. Welcome, Kurt. We're opening up with a salvo against what we just witnessed here, and we'd like to hear your opening remarks about this.
Well, what's up, chat? What's up, Reg and Stormy?
What's up, OG?
I'm watching, BFTB call him urine instead of his name. BT something else, man. This guy was a 50-1 underdog. It should have been the one. This guy didn't have a chance in hell. And I've been saying, people, and Stormy can back me up on this, and I did say this on Blue Blood. I says, one of his opponents is going to quit on a stool. I said, I don't know who it is, and Yildirim might not be the only one. And I don't blame Canelo. Now, the guy Yildirim was his mandatory. But what's killing me is the propaganda behind Canelo. No, they trying to say he's the best Mexican fighter ever, which is so disrespectful to guys like Salvador Sanchez and Benito Lopez. Canelo's a good fighter, but I still see flaws. Now, how can he be so much better after Mayweather when he had a draw with Golovkin? He looks very pedestrian when he fights top-level competition. And I'm not talking about the European tour because he's getting ready to fight Billy Joe Saunders. I don't know where his head is at. I don't know if he'll pull this. You just don't know. You want to see Canelo in a competitive fight. It's sort of like the Mike Tyson syndrome. People was beating before they got in the ring with Mike. They were self-conscious on throwing a punch until some guy named Buster Douglas from Ohio said, I lost my mother. I have nothing to lose. And we all know what happened there. Canelo can be beat. I see it. I can feel it. But as many times I said, I'll take Canelo against the field because it's not like Canelo is unbeatable. It's that the lack of commitment and the lack of fervor that these guys have, man. These guys are beta males. Who's going to step up to the plate and challenge him? Because I truly feel if somebody challenge him, they can beat him. Is it Billy Joe? He has the footwork. He's big. He's a southpaw. Or will he melt under the lights like Yildirim? Will it be Charlo? Even though, he said, I ain't fighting nobody who's not vaccinated and under the age of 25. Doesn't sound alpha male-ish to me. Will it be Andrade, who doesn't fight and fight low-level competition? We just want to see the man challenge. But Yildirim, you talk about a lack of heart, man. I mean, he went out with a whimper, not even that. He quit, didn't throw no punches. He was a punching bag with trunks and shoes on. That's all he was. Just standing there taking body shot at the body shot. Uppercut at the uppercut. Canelo did what he wanted to do. But it's the propaganda. The ring interest is probably the worst I've ever seen in my life. And I know what they're doing. See, now they put the best Mexican fighter. But listen to what I'm going to tell you. If he win a few more fights, if he beat the Plants of Sanders, they're going to say he's one of the best fighters of all time. And then they're going to start comparing him to Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Floyd Mayweather. As ridiculous as it sounds, Floyd won every round. But what's the black guy, Reggie, with the hat on that was doing I don't know, he was with the girl that one of the commentators, you know what I'm talking about?
Wasn't that you talked the black and the white looking dude? I think that was that Akim Barak, the ones who was with Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, them. Thank you. Yeah, he already said. He said at the age of 30, Floyd beat 15 world champions, and Canelo is on his heels. So, and when he said Canelo's on his heels, he was talking about being champions and being just as good as Floyd Mayweather. See, it started already. It's the propaganda machine. I'm telling you, if he won a few more fights, and Ryan Garcia said, forget being the best Mexican fighter, he'll be one of the greatest ever. And they're going to try to push him past people like Robinson and Ali. And I like Canelo, but it's the propaganda. When you beat people like Callum Smith and Yildirim, it does nothing for him. So maybe one of those fighters can step up to the plate because, you know, like I said, it's not Canelo's fault. He's fighting. They're not. And that's why, I talk about alpha male and beta male.
Yeah, that's a great comment there, Kurt. And it's funny how what you mentioned, they're going to just leapfrog over what should be the obvious and go right, like you said, to the greats from a far bygone era when you mentioned the Alis, Robinsons, and they've already put him up there with Henry Armstrong. You understand? But the dude is not even better than Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. He's not. Okay? And when you want to talk about the pride and the fighters who have really done it, he's not better than Salvador Sanchez. He's not. Okay? He's not better than Jose Luis Ramirez. Okay? He's not. Huh? And I would like to even slide one other fighter from a more modern era in there who I liked. I watched him grow from defeat and come back and become a darn good champion. And that's Marco Antonio Barrera. Okay? Now, I just paid homage to several fighters who don't get and didn't get the type of acclaim and accolade and acknowledgement that they well deserved in the ring because they took their lumps like men and they took on the challenges of men, real alpha male men in eras when it was done far differently and you had to earn it. Sometimes get off your behind to earn it. And those are the type of men that we have to pay homage to and respect. We don't have to leapfrog anyone to go back to the distant greats. You can go straight back to recent greats, okay, and find that this man hasn't done what they have done. And the way that they incurred the losses on their records were by fighting far superior, sometimes even tougher foes. Some who were gifted athletically and they still found ways to win and overcome and persevere. Some that they just didn't have the boxing skill and talent, but they were in there and had enough of the rest of the intangibles to be competitive and sometimes wear someone down through attrition and become a successful champion. See, this is what we do here on this channel. We point out the facts, okay? We bring it like it's supposed to be. And what you saw tonight was a man who was actually out there filling his fight date book with an opponent that he has ties to. Excuse me, it feels like I'm about to sneeze. Opponent he has ties to give him a payday, a sparring partner, and have it be televised and have people come out as if he's fighting a live opponent. He was not. This was a glorified sparring session where they had no protective gear on as far as what you do in the gym. And they sold it as a professional fight. It was a sham. That rapper or performer who was singing and dancing before the fight, That was the show. That was the show. That's what you paid to see, because this was a no effort, a non-effort by Yildirim. Okay? And he fought like a man that had both his hands tied behind his back. And if anybody out there want to question that, go and look at it more. And then just check what you've seen of both he and Canelo in the past. The man hadn't fought in over 700 days. Okay? People made jokes about Dillian White complaining that he was a #1 contender or whatever for that WBC title while Wilder had it for 800 days. This man actually hadn't fought in 730 days. And Canelo picked him as an opponent. If this is not fluffing it, okay, I don't know what is. He might as well have pulled Henry Armstrong out of his tomb and fought him. Armstrong probably would have got a round out of it. This is ridiculous. You cannot continue to give shine or support to something that is being pulled over the winds of being pulled over the lid of the eyes of all the boxing public. This is one of the greatest snatch and grabs that I've seen. One of the greatest. Last one I saw like this, I think it was when Mike Tyson fought Cliff Etienne. And when he hit Etienne with a glancing right hand, and Etienne fell to the canvas, he was taking his mouthpiece out of his mouth to lay down as he was hitting the canvas. He took his own mouthpiece out and laid out. That was worse than what Bruce Seldon had done years earlier against Mike Tyson. A sham of a fight. Oh, they happen, people. They happen. And you just saw another example of it tonight. Throwing it back to you, Reg.
Man, I'm pissed off from what I seen from just a boxing perspective. Like this is the crap that turns people to want to watch these other events that have injected themselves into boxing. Is that fighters come in here to lay down. Now, how does Yildirim go into a fight unprepared, knowing? And then how does a fighter like Yildirim gets put into a ranking by a sanctioning body? What is the order from these dang organizations? Where's the order? Where's the standards from these organizations? Like you said, this dude ain't fought in like two and a half something years. And then it's funny that the fighter who he last fought against fights tonight as well. And he fights a mediocre looking fight. But then the fact that this dude is given an opportunity to fight Canelo for a vacant championship belt, even when Yildirim was put in line to fight Benavidez, it made no sense that Yildirim is at the top of the heap and fight for this belt. And then for you to go into a championship fight, and this is the way a championship contender goes into the ring to fight like a prospect, is BS. And it's BS not only on everyone involved in this crap is BS. Like, I thought Yildirim was going to give something. Yildirim is known for being a tough and rugged fighter, and he came in here and played like a princess. That's the thing. That's the most damaging thing to the sport of boxing. And the fact that you build this crap up, it really ain't even built up. People wasn't even that tuned in to knowing when Canelo was about to fight. But the fact that in a championship fight against a dude who they're touting and trying to build a legacy behind, to come in here and get another fighter that comes in here and fold up for him. The last 3 of Canelo fights have done nothing to raise Canelo's stocks. They have only left questions of people denying Canelo. This is damaging to Canelo. Being the fact that a lot of people have questions of whether or not these are sincere fights, whether or not people are getting paid to take dives, what's going on? This dude's a huge underdog. What's the odds for a 3rd round knockout? Did they put some money on this dude ending the fight in the 3rd round? Something's fishy as heck coming in here, because no way this fight should have been stopped. There's no way that Diaz should have been in that corner yelling at the top of the lungs to his fighter, he's going to stop the fight. You whisper that to the fight. You don't yell that out so the cameras can catch it and put on all this dramatic stuff. Like, this stuff is a sham to this sport. And this is why I'd rather see Logan Paul I'd rather see KSI. I'd rather see Jake Paul. I'd rather see Mike Tyson, Holyfield, hopefully Lennox Lewis come out. I want to see all these older fighters from the past eras that come out and fight each other at 40 and 50 years old than these scumbags. And even some of these young fighters is trash, like the crap coming out of Ryan Garcia mouth. What the heck are you talking about like you're somebody that damn special in the sport? You ain't even a real champion. And you telling the media that another champion ain't worthy of it? How do you even speak that out your mouth that somebody ain't worthy because their style is boring? That's that old coded racial 1920 era crap that they speak today. Not calling him a racist, but he's buying into hearing certain coded language and regurgitating the crap. Like, get the heck up out of here. People want to see you fight, fool. Not to go up here and take little risky fights like you're going to really fight some Manny Pacquiao, or then moving down to a lower rank talking about fighting Tank Davis when you're in 135. Like, this is the problem with these fools. And they starting to hurt the sport that I like. And like, they trash. That's why I don't like none of these goddamn fighters. I don't defend none of them. All of them are starting to become a waste of time within this sport. The same thing I talked about yesterday with Carissa Shields and what she's doing to wreck her own goddamn career with this feminist crap. You need to cut it out, figure out how to find your way through the sport of propping it up. And these folks can't figure this stuff out, but other people who come from outside avenues will teach them, and they still won't learn. These fools are like some idiotic students who you can present a cheat sheet to and they'll still fail a test. Like, this stuff is buggy, man.
1 second there, Reg. I want to go to the chat. We got Mark Nash, brother Mark Nash out there in the super chat. He says, let's support the show. Hashtag Mark Nash, hashtag Breaking Beats. Salute to you, Mark, and thank you for your support. Brothers always out there showing support and trying to encourage others to do the same. That's right. You don't have to hold back. If you'd like to give a donation to the Stormybman channel, you're more than welcome. We're not trying to shake you down, but we're letting you know that we accept it. But Reggie, there was something else that you said about Ryan Garcia. But check this out. While I was listening to a little bit of the broadcast, I did overhear him say, when he was asked about what he thought about this fight, he blew the whistle on what was going to happen. He said this fight was going 3 rounds. Now, the last time I checked, he was nothing close to a prophet, okay? But he does work in the same gym that Canelo works in. And we live in a age of revelation where things just kind of like fall out in the open because of social media and everything. We have criminals who tell on themselves all the time now. We have cheaters that's telling on themselves all the time now. We have people that just are, operating under circumstances that should be of utmost discretion, divulging and revealing the most intimate of information that should be kept and sealed and locked up. But this fool actually sat up there on the dais with those other people and said this fight was going 3 rounds with confidence. Now, it's ironic that the fight went 3 rounds. Now, I'm going to tell you something. If this were another person fighting in this headlined event tonight, let's just say Devin Haney, a Tank Davis, or someone like that, maybe even a Bud Crawford or Earl Spence. Who's not to say that quick, fast, and away that the WBC would be talking about withholding purses? Huh? Now listen, I'm telling the truth here. The WBC, Mauricio Suleiman, you know how goofball he's acted, right? Who's not to say that he would say at the post-fight press conference, we have reason to feel that we should uphold the purses for this event and whatnot because, we are going to investigate the affairs that took place this evening, like the Garcia comment of the fight ending in 3, the fact that Jojo Diaz was shouting out that his intention was to stop the fight, not try to see if his fight is okay and ready to go and getting him prepared to go get up out there and finish. But he was threatening to stop it after the next round and then stopped it just then. And then there was no resistance from Mr. Yildirim, huh? There was actually no resistance from Mr. Yildirim in his performance in the match. So when you put all this together, you know, you can see a committee coming together to try to throw salt on the event. How come that's not happening as we speak? Because we can see it. We see it. They are not fooling us. But, like I said, if it were someone else, then you'd have all of this plus some. Even threats of suspension, that kind of thing. This is what you have to call to order. The facts are what they are. There's a double standard here. A double standard. And I don't like it. It stinks. It further ruins what is a great sport. But you got all of these sleazeballs hanging around and draining the blood of what's left of the body of boxing. It's ridiculous, and I'm ashamed of it. Kurt, what do you have on what I just pointed out there?
Yeah, I share those same sentiments, man. You know, it's a shame that I gotta go back in the day and watch fighters like Marvin Hagler, you know, Bobby Chacon, Roberto Gomez, and Matthew Saad Muhammad to get my fix, to curb my appetite when it comes to boxing, my satisfaction, because these guys are something different and it's not good. You know, winning titles these days in different divisions is like being a hot dog vendor at Yankee Stadium. Once it meant something, it meant a lot, but it doesn't really mean anything because these guys, man, these guys can't fight today. Not only that, man, I mean, they just refuse to fight. They refuse to fight. So you didn't have this with Marvin Hagler. You think you would watch a Marvin Hagler fight and be like, man, I hope it's a good fight tonight. You know, man, you think Marvin gonna come to fight? You would never say that. A lot of guys, you know, that's just how it was. They fought. Yildirim, man, his purse should be withheld. Don't you know in Turkey, they threw this man a parade earlier today in his own country? Banners and all the bells and whistles, you know, chanting his name like he won the fight. That was embarrassing. If he was from my country, I wouldn't let him in. I'll close the borders when I see him coming. You're embarrassed. You embarrassed Turkey. And, you know, listen, it's not Canelo's fault, you know, that these guys don't want to fight. Now, Billy Joe Saunders is a name fighter, you know, champion. I want to see how he performs. I want to see if is he going to be, you know, up for the fight where he's going to go out and try to win. That's when things is going to get very interesting. At least Golovkin went out there and tried to win, and you saw they was nip and tuck. I thought he won the first fight, and I thought Canelo won the second fight. I don't know, man. I'm just disgusted because, like you said, Stormy, man, I live and die for this sport, man, and they squeezing the life right out of it, man. The boxing survived a lot of things, man, a lot of black guys, but we're in an era where it's just, this is one of the worst eras the sport has ever seen. It's one of the worst. My father was alive, he'd be like, man, these guys can't fight. He would have took the cigar out of his mouth and said, these guys can't fight. These guys can't fight. You know, it's unfortunate that 168 pounds, we don't have a Nigel Benn or Chris Eubank or Roy Jones Jr. in his prime or James Toney. It's unfortunate. You know, we got who we have in the division, Calvin Smith and, you know, guys like that, and Yildirim's, and, you know, I mean, it's just, I don't know what to say. I'm like really disgusted, you know. And plus, not only the performance by Yildirim, it's just the propaganda behind this whole machine. What the Dazn is doing, they doing a great job of promoting, you know, Canelo, you know, calling him pound for pound. I don't think he's number one pound for pound. And somebody, you know, people be like, why you say that? And I said, I've seen him lose before. I've seen him lose every round before. I have Crawford as number one. I never seen Crawford lose in 3 different divisions, knocking everybody out from a lightweight to welterweight. He's doing what Henry Armstrong is doing. You know, the great Henry Armstrong was a featherweight champion, bypassed the lightweight, went all the way up to welterweight, beat Barney Ross, weighing 133 pounds, dropped back down to lightweight, and beat Lou Ambers. That's greatness. And that's greatness. You know, but I don't know. I passed the mic, man. I don't know. That Yildirim, it's just left a bad taste in my mouth.
Throwing it back to you, Reggie, what were your thoughts about what I had to offer on this whole thing? You know, like the scenario I gave of, had this been another fighter, you know, they'd be talking about holding up purses and everything and investigating and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, no, he shouldn't get paid, man. They need to watch where the money at. Watch his whole camp. See who's going to the casino to pick up some money. Something fishy about this, man. But for a performance like that, nah, they should not be touching a check. And this fight need to be reviewed. This dude was not hurt that dang bad to be quitting the fight. Like, something that looked right. And I'm about to go look on one of these betting sites to see what the heck is the odds breakdowns. Because if he's that much of an underdog, usually the predictions of calling when a knockout happened are even probably greater than that. So this dude betted against his dang self is what happened. He put a bet in against himself. He probably done told everyone around him to put a bet in against himself. And especially if his country threw a parade for him today, and this is the performance he got, they might as well strap him to a missile and shoot him with whoever they have in conflict war, because that was a sucker move for someone who's supposed to be a warrior. And you dedicate yourself that much into a camp, did you really train? If that's the effort you're going to give, like I say, the heavyweight was in the other fight, was getting crushed in the fight before this one, or 2 fights before this one, getting crushed in there, dropped in the first 3 rounds, and to get up and battle his way out. He battled his way out. Yildirim get dropped one time and it's quits. Like, nah, something ain't right. And this ain't cool for boxing. This ain't cool for even paying to come out to an event like this. This purified junk. And if he was so hurt, he would have been trying to hold Canelo. I didn't even see him holding Canelo in that 3rd round when he was dropped. Like, what the heck? Like, that's the thing that bothers me, man. That bothers me to my core. Like, right now, I almost feel sick watching this, man. I can't stand coward type people. I can't stand people who crap on the sport of boxing. That's why I don't like Bob Arum and them. It ain't from Bob Arum just being an old guy. It's from what Bob Arum did with the sport. I don't really like Teddy Atlas and them for what they did to the sport. They create to where these other sports can come in here and start to steal away from boxing. It's because of what these other folks who manipulate the dang sport. This dude should never be allowed to fight again. Yildirim's credentials to be able to box needs to be drawn into question. They need to investigate, man, do some U.S. intel type stuff on this dude, because something was fishy going into this fight. Like I say, can't put on Canelo. Only thing put on Canelo is the level of opposition that he's fighting out here. Now, is Canelo going to give Benavidez this shot? You got his belt. You ought to be fighting Benavidez. Anytime Canelo has faced anybody with a name, he has had questionable fights, questionable decisions even in fights, and questionable outings before even a knockout. Hell, Amir Khan was giving Canelo the blues. That's someone with a name with skills. Floyd Mayweather, we already know what he did to him. Trout, Laura gave him the blues. Even Danny Jacobs gave him issues, gave him a little bit of blues. except he wouldn't step on the gas even further. But he gave Canelo the damn fight he needed. And is that the reason why Canelo don't want to fight some of these guys who are known to bring challenges to him? I think absolutely it's the reason why he doesn't want to fight those folks. And even in his Sergey Kovalev fight, you watch the last 3 fights, and this is why they can't build up Canelo's legacy. This ain't like this is the era to where people have to rely on articles that were written. We go right on YouTube and start watching these fights and draw questions. Even in the Sergey Kovalev fight, everything was questionable. So Kovalev is afraid to add volume on this jab. He hurt Canelo once in that fight and did not go to pursue Canelo. He held back. The incentives for losing to Canelo happen to be greater. Boxing is so filled with the manipulation of contracts for fighters. The way in which fighters are paid is a bunch of BS, and then you give a fight to an unworthy dude in Kovalev. There's just so much questionable stuff within the sport, but this is like one of the sickest things I've seen in boxing in a long time, for someone to fold out of a fight like this. And this is who y'all giving challenges to. And even looking what the WBC did in this other fight, even though that dude showed up, what is this kid name who fought Darrell? Kyron Davis, who came in here and put on a great fight, but where he was situated in rankings, from what I heard he was way, way down there in rankings, somewhere in like the 30s, if not lower. But he's given a WBC title eliminators position. Like, come on, what's going on with this dang sport, man? But that's my thoughts, man. I'm still pissed right now.
Well, you've already segued us into, we could get on off of this thing with Canelo. I just want to answer something that Lawrence wrote in the chat. L-Dub, salute to L-Dub out there. He says, y'all sound so surprised. It's reason why the WBC made Yildirim mandatory, coming off a loss and a failed PED test and shoulder surgery. It's not that we're surprised. We're disgusted in the lack of performance that a person who has such a close tie to Canelo exhibited. And the fact that nobody's, and when I say nobody, I'm talking about, the announcers, the people around, they don't call people out on that, because remember, how the media angles things is how the viewing audiences, it shapes their minds. It doesn't shape ours. Okay. We have enough, experience of what we're looking at and how we can break it down and things of that nature. But to the casual, because you have millions of casuals out there. You have a few of us out there, maybe hundreds of thousands of us's, right? But when they have microphones in their hands, remember, they could get on TV and talk about you and put you down and turn the world against you. And you'll be looking around like, why did everybody get on? People don't even know me, blah, 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 blah. That's how the media operates. They could shape you and make you or break you. And in this instance, when they do so much of kissing up, I'm trying to find a clean way to say it. When they do so much kissing up and they don't point out faults, they don't point out facts, it leaves you in a place where if you're relying on a source to kind of inform you, well, it's coming down a crappy pipeline, maybe a pipeline that's running toward the sewers and not toward, clean water. You understand? So that's what we're trying to say here. Nobody is surprised. That's why Canelo was the odds favorite that he is. But what you do have discussed in is like the performance of Yildirim and his coach in the corner. Because I want to see Mr. Joel Diaz stop a fight like that for one of the more prominent fighters that he's worked with. Let's see him stop fights like that. Guys who are cut bad, been hurt, shook up. I want to question why he gonna, tape the guy up and wash him down and send him back out there for another round. He didn't do it with this guy. So why do it for anybody? That's the thing we want to say about that. But yeah, we're going to go right on into the other fight that took place just before that. Anthony Durrell taking on Kieran Davis. This was a pretty good. It ended up being a pretty good fight, and I recall, Reggie, when we were speaking about it on the Friday Night Chop session, we were saying that we questioned, because of, like you just stated, that this fight taking place as an eliminator bout, but they reached down the rankings and pulled up Mr. Kieran Davis, but it turned out that he made Mr. Durrell look a lot older in this fight, and he fought him to a point of where now people are going to have to acknowledge him and kind of start forgetting about Mr. Durrell because he looked like crap and stunk up the joint tonight. But I know Reggie got a lot to say about this one. I'll go to Kurt first. Kurt, what were your thoughts about this fight? Were you able to check any of it out or all of it?
Yeah, I seen most of it. I missed maybe a round and a half. I seen Kieran fight before, but he performed a lot better than I thought. I think Durrell's getting old, man. I think the Benavidez fight, he had the motorcycle accident. He had a lot of bad luck in his career. Early in his career, I thought he would be a much, much more accomplished fighter. I'm glad nobody turned out. It was an eliminator fight, and nobody won. It's a draw. I didn't want to see Durrell. I thought Durrell won. I didn't want to see him win because then he'll be fighting, for a title again. I didn't want to see that happen. I thought whatchamacall was a lot better than I thought. Kieran, and he gave Durrell some problems, man. I thought Durrell edged it out, but they called it a draw. It was a better fight than I anticipated.
Yeah. How about you, Reggie? What are your thoughts?
Man, I gotta say, respect to these judges tonight as well in this fight. It's that they didn't give off a scorecard that was lopsided. They called it as a close fight. It was a very close fight. And in this one, man, the dude reminded me so much of Sean Porter, man. The style, he looks like Sean Porter. And that style benefited. That style early on was giving Durrell a whole lot of trouble. It was a whole lot of trouble to where Durrell's being a little bit tentative as he's having to, slowly work his way to getting within range. The guy kept moving. I like the activity of the guy to move around, not to just stand there, keep his head up off the line, knowing that Durrell is such a great jabber. And it caused Durrell to have to freeze up on throwing his jabs and kind of switching over to leading off wide with a hook to kind of trap the guy to go over into the opposite direction to line him up with a straight shot. But the guy worked well, man. He's very good twitch type movements to be able to explode forward. The only thing is I wish the guy probably would have threw more punches leading off of it, but I think he showed a little bit early on a lot of respect of knowing who he was in the ring with, but as time went on, he gained confidence and began to kind of come on at moments, and he started to, I like the way he's constantly locked on Durrell. He started to see what Durrell was throwing out there. His vision was great going in this fight, and he took some clean shots. He took them well, not once buzzed, and he put up a great standing for himself, being he was supposed to come into this eliminator by the WBC to just go in here and get washed through. Just like the other thing we seen on this co-main event for Canelo and this is the other thing that oh my God, is about to piss me off, is the fact that going into the co-main event for Canelo, they find a dude who they picked up off the couch 2 days ago. For that dude to go in there as a champion and just beat the brakes off this dude. You couldn't find nobody else or counsel the fight. You find some 2-day dude for this dude to just highlight and showcase. And that's what they thought would have been with Durrell and this Kieran Davis. Stop trying to find these unfair advantages, and salute to Kieran for coming in here and not playing into being somebody to just get washed through and beat on. It's supposed to be a game of safety, ensuring the safety of fighters. Find people who have worked their way, proven themselves to be in the rankings, so that way you don't find someone low down the heap who's unprepared and get them in here and get them killed. And this is the problem within the game, to either not want to see people fight, to put people in unfair advantages, to risking their damn health. And it's disgusting. But Kieran Davis showed tremendous heart, showed that he belongs, but that doesn't mean he needs to hop his way up to the top of being a champion, work his way up, still develop on his craft and work on his skills, because he stood right up in there with Darrell, a champion who gave Benavidez a tough outing, gave Yildirim some tough work, and he stood right in there in exchange with Darrell. His movement was great. He remained sharp he remained very, very sharp. He blocked a lot of Darrell jabs. He kind of took the jab away, and it caused Darrell to have to go in there and try to take more risks. And he began to kind of put a little lumping on Darrell's face, unless Darrell's face looks like that. But great outing by this young fighter. But once again, this young fighter should not have been in that type of position based on where he was ranked, and them just trying to dig someone up, and they dug the wrong person up. So salute to Karan Davis.
Yeah, I found it very interesting because I was, kind of switching back and forth between the fights and the cards on Dazn and Fox, and that's why I text you in your calling of the fight. I said, "How did you score the first 2 rounds?" Because I came in at the beginning of round 3, and I gave right off the bat, catching round 3 and 4, I had given Chiron round 3 and 4. That's why I was like, I wonder what the first 2 rounds was like, because he was being very competitive at that juncture when I had tuned in. And I've never seen the guy fight before, but I was impressed with what I saw of him just when immediately, because the fight was already, under commencement. And I saw him giving effort, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, it didn't matter that he wasn't as experienced as Darrell with fights under his belt or whatever. What mattered was his approach to the fight, and the fight that he was fighting in a main event against a guy who's a former world champ and a guy who is more experienced, and he was fighting like he belonged. And I liked that. And I think that's what you were saying as well, and possibly what Kurt was thinking as well, because the guy, this is all we ask for. And this is what we didn't see from Yildirim. You understand? So this is the contrast for someone who wants to think that maybe we're just hating on what happened with the Canelo card and his bout, period. No, what we want to see is men who go in there and give a full-hearted effort. And this man did, to the degree that he almost got the victory. He came about with, he came through the bout with a draw against a former world champion. And remember, his ranking is down low in the 30s or something, like Reggie said. So they pulled him up from down there in an effort to try to make things a little bit easier on Mr. Darrell, who may be in position to challenge for, who going in was in a position to challenge for a title again. And we have to pump the brakes, you see? And guess what? The draw and not a decision against him does wonders for Davis, because now he feels he belongs. And when he fights again, he's going to fight with even more spirit. Okay, more aspiration to get the job done. I think the only thing that was wrong here, and you never know that until you get a fighter who gets into a fight like this, was that he now realizes what type of conditioning it's going to require to fight at this level. Because what happens is you spend the first couple of rounds of a fight like this, you burn up a lot of your stamina because it's your first time in a big fight, profile fight against a former world champion and things of that nature. And if you're able to fight him to a draw, what if I train just a little bit harder, get my wind up so I can throw more punches in the later rounds? Hey, you have a blackboard blueprint now. He has something to go back to the gym, look at the drawing board and say, hey, this is where I need work and effort, because he fought very spirited. And I loved what I saw in exchanges where when Darrell was trying to open up on him, where he was defending and fighting out of his defense, coming back with something and coming back with some hard stuff. He only had 6 KOs on his record going into this fight, but he definitely hit Darrell with enough to keep him off of him, because Darrell never went for a knockout in the later rounds. He was just trying to move his hands and be a little busier, you see. But somebody was puffing his face up, right? So Davis presented enough of a challenge that Darrell, he kept his hands at home in some instances as well. So these are the type of fights that we like to see, where a young guy can come up, you see? And with that type of, attitude, hats off to the brother. I would like to see him again because of how he put in his efforts tonight. Yildirim, never want to see him again, never want to hear his name after tonight, and hopefully, like Reggie say, they attach his butt to one of them missiles that they like to fire off over there in Turkey all the time. Make sure that he's attached to one of them the next time you want to explode one, because he really laid an egg over here tonight, and we don't want to see him no more. Get him out of here. What you got, Kurt?
Yeah, it was a lack of effort that, leaves a bad taste in true boxing fans' mouth. I don't care if a fighter lose. Hey, Arturo Gatti lost, but you know one thing about Arturo Gatti, he was going to give it all he got. And that's why he was so well liked, and that's why he's in the Hall of Fame. Not because of his skill, but because of his effort. He was a blood and guts warrior. That's all we ask. We don't ask a fighter get paid and you go in there and lay down. You don't throw no punches. You got a loaded gun on your hip and you kept it there. You didn't throw any punches. Then you decide to quit. Joel Diaz was yelling at him, I'm going to give you one more round. His face, I knew, said the story, resignation. Nah, I ain't going back out there. I had enough, a couple of rounds and body shots, and, that was it. But it's the lack of effort, like I said. Canelo fans be like, oh, man, they hard on Canelo. No, I look at boxing from the objective perspective. I was like that with Mike Tyson when people was laying down. Then this was way before he lost, and people used to get excited about the KOs. And I was like, I still don't know how good he is until somebody go in there and give an effort. And it was Buster Douglas and then Holyfield. And, that's when the floodgates opened. He wasn't as good as we thought. Or they deemed him invincible. And it wasn't Mike's fault. Mike was making them guys quit. But when he was met with resistance, then it was a different story. With Canelo, I just want to see a fight. I want to see how good he's gotten after Mayweather. I already know. But if you give him a challenge in a certain style, he's going to lose again. Unless he gets a controversial decision, because that's what's going to happen next. So it's not about Canelo. It's about the lack of effort. Yildirim was a mandatory, and I knew that was by design. We weren't surprised because he was a 50-1 underdog. So if Canelo beats Billy Joe Saunders and Caleb Plant, can't say nothing, because now he's beating named fighters, that are champions. So, look forward to the Billy Joe fight. I don't know what Billy Joe's going to show up. I just want to see a challenge. That's all I'm saying as a boxing enthusiast. That's all.
And look, peep this out. I want to say this, Stormy. You go on Matchroom website, they already got the Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders date and banner created. And then I'm looking over this replay as they load up the replay. When Yildirim gets dropped, he don't show no signs of being hurt. He holds his hands out like looking shocked, like, oh man, like dang, I got caught. Let's continue to go. He don't even look hurt. And then I'm looking over the co-main event fighter for this interim WBC world flyweight title is the fact that this dude, Abraham Rodriguez, hadn't fought since December 7th, 2019. And then his opponent coming in here hasn't fought. He ain't fought when he's a last minute replacement, hadn't fought since March of 2020. So this type of crap they putting on over here in this sport and trying to sell it off to so-called casual fans or whatnot. Like, this is the BS going on within the sport. So it's almost like it's a setup. They just set this fight up to get this dude ready so he can take this. He's being active this year to go ahead and get his Cinco de Mayo fight date and trying to look good on these 3-fight win streaks. It's a bunch of BS they setting up behind this clown.
Yeah, you know, and when they do that, showing their hands is what I call it. But when they do things like that, it really makes you, it really solidifies the points that we make about boxing and how they shuffle things and put things before us. Someone asked in the chat a little earlier that what do we as a panel think about Billy Joe Saunders' chances against Canelo, and do we think that he would be, you know, in a position of taking the dive or, you know, not giving a wholehearted effort in a potential fight in the future with Canelo? And I'd like to pass that around to you brothers and let you respond. I'll come to Kurt first. Kurt, what are your thoughts about that in a possible showdown between the two, Saunders and Canelo?
The question is, what Billy Joe Saunders is going to show up? The one that fought against Lemieux, that will be a very interesting fight because he's big and I like his footwork. But it's his psyche. You know, Billy Joe is sort of like Tyson Fury. He's a flake. So you don't, you know, he gets up for big fights. And the lesser fights, he looks like really pedestrian. He doesn't look good, subpar performances. He's had enough experience to take, you know, to perform well on a big stage. He's been there before. So there's no excuses why he should have a loaded gun in his waist and not take it out. That's just, you know, making an analogy, but not throwing punches. But you still don't know. You still don't know. You don't know what Billy Joe Saunders' version is going to show up. And like I said, if it's the one that fought Lemieux, he was up for the fight. He fought Lemieux's hometown. He boxed beautifully that night. He really did. I said, man, this guy can fight. You know, his footwork was beautiful. And he has that trait where that gives Canelo major problems. Canelo still has slow feet. And you see how slow Yildirim was. See his jab was like Joe Joyce tonight. But it's Billy Joe's mental state.
Well, salute to
you
Jay
don't know.
Dixon
You just
out
want.
there. Jay Dixon out there. I gotta say this, Kurt. I'm gonna read his comment first before his super chat, but he says Billy with or without the nasal spray. And then his super chat, he says, salute to Jay Dixon. He says, salute, I'm about to watch Hagler versus Mugabe, Holyfield versus Cowie 1, and Norris versus Leonard to make myself feel better about the sport. Damn shame. And salute to brother Reggie Owens out there. He says smash the like button. Yes, sir, man. But yeah, hey, Jay Dixon, you can't go wrong with that, brother. I'm gonna tell you. That's a good idea.
No, you can't. Hey, that's why I watch the classic fights, man, to help curb my appetite, man, my insatiable appetite, I should say. But you know, it can be very interesting. If I think he's going to come to fight, I'll give Billy Joe Saunders the benefit of the doubt. If he don't come to fight and lay down, well, maybe Canelo just got that aura. Well, people don't want to punch, and you can't fault Canelo. You can't. If he beats Billy Joe soundly and make him quit, and Billy Joe don't throw punches, then the name Canelo's getting the people psychologically, like Sonny Liston and Mike Tyson. And he doesn't hit as hard as them, but, you know, boxing is a mental game, man. And I just want to see somebody be committed and give Canelo a fight.
Yeah, effort. That's what we want to see. Like, again, and Kurt, forgive me, but you were very light on your comments about Kieran Davis's performance against Darrell. Can you kind of elaborate on that a little more for us? Because that's kind of where I was trying to lead to. And you kind of went back on the Yildirim performance and everything. But, you know, this guy, at least he gave the effort. He tried, and he did enough to get a draw out of it because of the efforts that he put forward. So, you know, can you elaborate on that a little bit more for us?
Well, I've seen it before. He didn't bowl me over, but like I said, he fought better than expected. And I was happy with it because I said, hey, I want to see this guy again. You know, when the fight was over, that was before the judges read the scorecards, because he gave an effort. He was an underdog, and he made Darrell look old. He made Darrell look old because he fought with spirit. He, you know, it was a gallant effort, and that's all I asked. I didn't even care if he won or lost. That didn't matter. You know, he reminded me of a little Sean Porter. You know, he fought with a purpose. And
that's what Reggie said. Yeah.
He fought with a purpose. Yeah. And that's the best way to put it. Everybody ain't going to be Sugar Ray Robinson and Harry Greb or whatever. But as long as you go in there and be like, hey, I'm going to give it all I got, and I'm going to give every ounce of effort. That's all we ask for as boxing fans. You lose, you lose. You live to fight another day. But he, you know, with this impressive showing, you know, he probably get another fight, like an undercard fight on Fox. I could see that because of the effort he gave. You know, sometimes, you know, a heart and commitment, you know, can override skill where you're underdog and things break right for you. He didn't get the decision, but he didn't lose either. It was a draw. That, hey, don't be surprised if it's a rematch or, you know, you see him again and then he fights another high-profile name. But, you know, he got people's attention because of the spirited effort he gave. I was impressed with him.
Okay. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Let's move on into the other fight that took place, you know, in the wee hours of this morning, man. We had the battle of the Tongans and the Samoans, man, where we saw over there in New Zealand, Joseph Parker taking on Junior Fa. You know, this fight right here was one of those fights that it was kind of a grudge match, a bit of a story where these two gentlemen faced each other in the amateurs and everything. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet because I was asleep and I was too busy with some outside of boxing business today to get it in before tonight's fights. So I'll be checking this out sometime between tonight and tomorrow. I'll try to check these guys out for their fights. But for you two brothers, what were your thoughts of the fights and how it played and the results overall and everything? Reggie, did you call this one?
Oh yeah. I stood up to catch this one. I thought it was a good match between the two, but I also thought it would have turned out. I thought a stoppage would have came for Joseph Parker had the ref did a better job. That ref didn't know what the heck he was doing in this fight. There was way too much clinching and holding throughout the fight. I thought he should have gave more warnings. Early on, it was cool, but it was constant throughout the fight, mainly from Fa. And the ref not once giving a warning. Every time around the start, that ref allowing about 10 seconds to go off the clock rather than calling time. He allowed the bell to come in, hold the fighters while some water gets cleaned up in the corner, just constantly letting the time tick off the clock. But Fa was doing a lot of holding, a lot of clinching in the fight. Parker looking to try to go in there to knock his head off. And that's the thing that kind of held him back from the fight being more exciting, more of a fist fight because of the fact that the referee allowed that. The scorecards were suspect as well. I don't get it was like a 119 101 or something like that from a judge's scorecard. So therefore, it's like, was this judge even watching the fight? Because Fa put up better showing for himself, especially in the early stages. But let me stop this dog real quick.
Yeah, Reggie, you got to tame that Doberman, man.
This like 2 pounds and think he a pit. Oh, there you go. But that's my thoughts on that one. That referee really jacked that fight up yesterday.
Okay, I'll be watching out for that. How about you, Kurt? Did you get a chance to watch it?
Yeah, I ain't wake up 4:30. I woke up this morning, and it's not like it was Ali and Frazier, but I did get to see it. Fall's not small, man. He's like 6'4", 260. He was laying some clean punches. Joseph Parker fight is hard to score because he just had that style where he won't lose badly, but he would just do enough to lose or enough to win. He's the type of fighter. Him and what's the guy that's for Mayweather, the guy from Sweden? I forgot. Jack the Ripper, that guy. They had, what's his name? Oh boy. Yeah, right. Yeah, Badu Jack and escape me. They always in fights where it's majority decision or it's 115, 113. It's hard to judge them, man. Joseph Parker. The referee wasn't strong enough. You need a big referee when you have two solid size heavyweights. They was doing a lot of clinching and stuff, and like you said, it was a grudge match. They got history, the amateur days. I think it was 2-2 in the amateurs for they fought 4 times, so they split 2-2, I believe. But Junior Ford landed some good punches, so did Parker. It could have been 119, 109. No, it was much closer than that. It 115, 113 for Fa, or 115, 113 for Parker was more appropriated scores, but it was a decent fight. It wasn't nothing to brag home about. It wasn't Holyfield Bowl 1 and 3, but nonetheless, man, it was a pretty good scrap. So you can take a look at it.
Yeah. Where do you see these guys going forward, Reggie? As far as off of their performance this evening, where do you see the two of them, Junior Fa and Joseph Parker?
In the class of the tops, but then again, the heavyweight talent pool ain't that dang talented. They may find at the top. I don't think Parker and Fa, neither one of them are competing amongst the top, being the Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. I don't think they're competing at that level. Parker can probably face, I've seen Chisora calling them out already. He can definitely take the Chisora level fighters, the Dillian White, the Povetkin level fighters, but going up to the top, I don't think it's happening. Even with Junior Fox not happening. And someone was saying, I think Lawrence Williams or somebody was saying yesterday that was who Wilder has as a sparring partner. And I was saying, hopefully Wilder don't bring in those kind of sparring partners in there no more. Because I'm pretty sure Junior Fa was holding him much more than what Fa was holding Joseph Parker as. But to go in for title contentions, and I hate to make those statements about fighters not being able to campaign as far as being champions, but being honest, like, I don't see them making it up to that champion level run as they continue to move forward. I don't see that happening with them. But that's my thoughts with that.
Yes, sir. And I'll get a chance to watch it, like I said, sometime between tonight and tomorrow, and maybe I'll next broadcast or something, I'll give my thoughts on it just to clean up here. I don't want to make any comments at this time on that particular fight because I didn't see any of it. So, that being said, I think that we run the gamut on this evening's show, man. We've pretty much, unless you guys had something else on the table you wanted to discuss about the fights that took place this weekend. I know we had another card where that Scardina and Nunes, and I didn't get a chance to see any of that as well. So I don't know if you guys want to make comments on that particular fight card or the main event, or if you just want to leave it with what we've discussed thus far. How about you, Reggie and Kurt? What do you think?
I didn't see the card at all, so I'll have to pass.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah, me too, because I didn't catch it either.
Okay. Yeah, it is up on Dazn. Now, that was one that I did try to tune into earlier this afternoon, you know, before I did my stream early in the afternoon. And when I tried to click on it on the Dazn, it kept saying it's not connecting or something. It's like try again later or report it if you can't get it to play. So I only tried it at that time. Hopefully, whatever it was, maybe it was because it was still processing. I don't know. But usually you could go right back and watch something that has ended. So I wasn't able to check it out when I tried to click on it. But I will watch it to see what's up. Sometimes, you know, there can be some scrapes on there that are all right, especially with people you don't know. But I just don't want to make any comments on it if I didn't see any of it. So, you know, that's where I'll stand with that. But yeah, man.
I want to address something.
Huh?
I want to address somebody in the chat.
Sure, go ahead.
PG Big Dog, he says, Kurt, you too high on Canelo. He is not unbeatable. These cats don't even try. Yeah, well, no, I'm not saying he's unbeatable. He's lost already. He has a draw. He was in a close fight. I thought Laura beat him. Well, I think people get it because a couple of people said I'm high on Canelo. It's not that. It's just that the potential opponents are not man enough to challenge him. And we saw that tonight. Now, if somebody decides to come out they shell and fight to their potential, then Canelo can be beat. And I still see that because he doesn't have the footwork. So he, you know, his skill set is high, but he does have a flaw, a weakness, and it's his feet. A good boxer will beat him with footwork. He relies on you to stand in front of him so, you know, you can counter him. He struggled with Golovkin because Golovkin has a good jab and he's strong. He lost to Mayweather because of Mayweather's footwork. He struggled with Lara. So I know Canelo like the back of my hand. I know his strengths and weaknesses, but I'm talking, when I say Canelo's going to beat everybody, it's just that I don't believe in the opponent. I don't believe in Caleb Plant. And unless they show me, and I don't mind being wrong, and be like, wow, Canelo lost because Plant fought the fight of his life, or Billy Joe Sanders. I would not be shocked. You know, I just want them to fight Canelo, be committed, because Canelo psychologically has a big advantage on him. He's a seasoned, experienced fighter, and he's the alpha male of that division. And the rest are beta males, unless somebody on that night, you know, said, you know what, I got to take, you know, advantage of this opportunity and fight, you know, the fight of my life. That's all I'm saying, you know, but as long as they, you know, have that mindset where, you know, they under the bright lights and you look at their careers, you know, what have they done? What have Andrade done? What have Charlo done? You know, what have Plant and Sanders done? And the answer is hardly nothing. You know, so when you go into a big fight, what helps you is preparation, not training, but having a tough fight before the super fight. That's very important. You know, when you look at all the great fighters, they was always prepped before the title fight. They was always in tough. That helps them prepare for the super fight. It's a psychological thing because, you know, you in with one of the best pound for pound fighters and you're on the big stage.
Yeah, I got you. I got you on that. So yeah, this hey, you know, like I said, it's been a great show, man. We've cooked on these subjects pretty well. I'm very proud of the efforts that we put in when we try to have these earnest discussions on these boxing matches, man. And like some of the people who have complimented in the chat, they come here because that's what they get. You know, they get the earnest breakdowns here, and you know, that's how we try to represent the knowledge that that I've been able to attain in my years of watching boxing. I like to be able to look at things, you know, through depth, and I like what Reggie brings, because Reggie, though he's a younger brother than I am, he does the same thing in his own way, and he has that, and he has that thing about himself that he has his position, and he don't care what somebody else is really thinking about it. But and I respect that and love that. And of course with Kurt, with all of his knowledge and everything and experience with the sport, being able to break down the fighters and the fights and everything in such tremendous detail, we gravitate toward one another because it's very much relatable. And it's always an honor and a pleasure to have him on when we do these post-fight shows. So we've got a great thing going here, and we just want to continue to bring that to you guys. Salute to everybody in the chat that supported us this evening, and we'll be back for another one. Do we got some fights coming up next weekend too, or I don't know, guys? I hadn't looked that far in the schedule.
Not that I know of. I'm not sure. I got to check my schedule.
Okay, so
yeah, she's got that pay-per-view event she's putting together.
Oh, yeah, Clarissa Shields.
Okay, Shields. Okay, so we'll be back, I guess, next weekend to talk about that for the post-fight. But this has been a great show. Salute to you guys on here on the panel with me, and salute to everybody out there in the chat. Great job, and we'll be back next week for another one, man. And just keep on doing what we're doing. It's like, almost a thing where you come to look forward to this, because we break it down so well. I often go back and listen to the replays, and I'm like, man, we were really, coming with it, and it's like, it's a respectable thing. So, and I think a lot of people in the chat feel the same way. So at the end of the day, let's just keep it moving, man. Keep it boxing like that, and hey, we'll be back for more. So let me ask you guys, any final words, Reggie, that you got for tonight's show?
Nah, I'll be doing more venting about the fight at 11:30 West Coast time on my channel. Will be 1:30 Central, 2:30 Eastern for those who are late owls like me. Just to cook more up on this, man, and the title of it is Canelo and Ryan Garcia ruining the sport, not based on their skill, but based on this other avoidance type tactics they're doing of building false legacies. But that's my thoughts on that.
Okay, any final words from you, Kurt?
Well, very, very short. I'm just glad, like I always say, I'm very appreciative about this YouTube boxing thing that we got going, LBBC, and the people in the chat that makes the channel and Stormy, very consistent. Got a lot of different things going, kung fu, cooking, and boxing shows. So, Reggie doing his thing. I like your stance on politics and race. Very informative, man. I respect and appreciate it. And, shout out to the chat, man, for standing on their square. They could be tough like the Apollo crowd, even tougher. And I like it, though. I like it. I respect it. So, we enjoy the fights tonight, and we got some more stuff coming next week, man, and enjoy.
Yes, sir. So that's gonna be it for this evening. We're gonna get on up out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. And salute to the chat one more time. We'll be back next weekend for another post-fight show after the Clarissa Shields event. We'll catch you guys on that one. Peace to everybody. Enjoy your weekend.